Good morning, student. Welcome to the online class. We will study in geography. Our next lesson, our topic is weathering and denudation. Chapter number 9. Please open to your page 74. Children, let's see what weathering and denudation is. Introduction. Our Earth's crust is undergoing constant change. As a result of various processes, internal and external, opening, operating on it, while internal processes like tectonic movement lead to the formation of various landforms, external forces, both constructive and destructive, like denudation and deposition, bring about a great diversity in present day landform. Children, in the earth, we are going to study in this lesson what is happening inside the earth and what is happening on the surface of the earth. So let's see the meaning of weathering. The earth's surface remains exposed to various elements of weather. These elements of weather like rain, air, heat, frost and cold wear away the rocks. Weathering involves disintegration. Children, disintegration means the process of cohesion or strength, the process of coming of pieces, the rocks breaking down into small pieces. That is the meaning of disintegration. And decomposition of rock where they exist. Therefore, it is a static process, whereas denudation is a dynamic process. Weathering is important as it leads to the formation of soil. When weathering is taking place, that means soil formation is also taking place. And children, weathering take place with the temperature. The temperature is whether it is hot and whether it is cold. So we have to keep in mind when weathering take place, there is constant change of temperature, which is variation. Types of weathering. The work of weathering in breaking up rock is of three types. We is going to study the three types of weathering formation. Physical or mechanical weathering is brought about by several agents such as frost, heat and cold wind and biotic factors. So physical and mechanical weathering take place by the three agents, the frost, heat and cold winds and biotic factors. Chemical weathering, in which the main agent is rainwater. In chemical weathering, there is the one change, which is the rainwater. And biotic or biological weathering. Let's study physical weathering. It is responsible for the disintegration of rocks by the elements of weather such as heat, frost, wind, plants, man and animals. Physical weathering does not change the composition of rock. It is more effective in dry region. The factor responsible for mechanical weathering are as follows. The extreme of temperature. Children, I have told you that temperature plays the vital role in the formation of weathering. Nature of rock, the type of rock we are going to study in weathering. Frost again, the cold weather when there is snow and frost. Slopes of land, the slides on the hills, the slopely slides we are going to study. The land is slopy. Structure of rock, what form kind of rock, it is metamorphic rock. We have studied in previous lesson. There are the four types of rocks and wind, which plays an important role. The extremes of temperature. The sandy arid and semi-arid region are heated intensely during the day and lose heat rapidly in the night. So the extreme continuous temperature, the heat is constantly on the hitting on the rock, and the rapid, as soon as the heat, the sun settles down, the night comes and the temperature suddenly falls down, and that is the extreme conditions which are constantly taking place, which is extreme. Very high temperature in the morning and very cold temperature in the night is forming the extreme conditions. This causes expansion of rock during the day. So the rock is expanding during the day when the constant heat is on the rock, and contraction during the night. Then contraction means to come together, and the rock is contracting when it is very cold. This causes rock to disgenerate and split. This continuation of persistence, heat and cold is causing the rock to split. Split means to break open. Exfoliation. What is the meaning of exfoliation? Sudden change in temperature causes pieces in the rocks through which water penetrates to motivates chemical weathering, along with sudden contraction and expansion due to the change in temperature. Peel of the rocks, the upper layer of the rocks, known as exfoliation. The change of temperature during the summer and winter and case of arid region during the day and night cause expansion and contraction in the rock surface. This causes the rock to break up or peel off. Rectangular rocks blocks thus are gradually rounded by the splitting away of sharp corners. This process is called exfoliation. Nature of rock. Nature of rocks refers to the composition of rock. Nature of rock, what kind of rock? Some rocks may be hard and some soft. Some may be soluble and some may be insoluble. Hence, the mechanical weathering take place in the softer and soluble rock more easily than in the hard and insoluble rock. So the more easy rock which is going to take place, nature is the softer rocks. In case of sandy soil of desert, it is picked up by the wind more easily, while clay or loam cannot be lifted by air easily. They are thick soil, clay and loam, and in the desert the sand is light, so it is carried away by the dust and the wind more easily. Structure of rock. The texture or arrangement of rocks also affects the process of weathering. For example, the vertical arrangement layer of rocks are more susceptible to weathering as air, water, snow and frost enters through the gaps and compared to horizontal layer, arranged layer. Children, you can see in the picture in the books that how the vertical arrangements of the rock take place, as it is susceptible with the weathering. The air and the water goes through, seeps into the layers which is formed by the constant weather temperature taking place. Once water or frost enters the rock, it starts its erosive action and breaks them into pieces. So children, they are broken down due to the constant frost and the air pressure which is exerting the rock to split open. Frost. Frost is most common agent of weathering in the temperate region. When water enters the rocks and turns into ice, the volume increases. During the day, ice thaws and the water enters deep in and into the rock. So during the daytime, the ice is thawed and the water is going into, it is on top of the rock, the ice, and the water is entering the rock deep inside the rock. When temperature drops during the night, the water again freezes. When with the heat, the frost is getting melted, the water is seeping inside. But at night, what is happening? Again the temperature is going down, again the ice is changing, water is changing into ice. The water which is seeped inside the rock is now frozen, and inside what is happening? This repeated freezing and thawing result to breaking up of the rock. The continuous process of this breaks the rock. Wind. The wind blows sand particles, attack the rock and erode them. This is most common in desert. The rocks have different composition and structure. Hence, some portion of the rock, soft rocks, are easily eroded by action of wind, whereas the hard rock remain exposed. Example: mushroom rocks and xeneous. Slopes of land. Weathering also depends on gradient or slopes. The steep slopes of the rocks are eroded more rapidly by the agents of weathering and compared to gentle slopes. Weathering also depends on slopes. Block disintegration. It occurs in well-joined rocks such as granite due to the temperature change. It is particularly affected in areas with great diurnal range of temperature 100 degrees Celsius to 15 degrees Celsius or more. The barren rock without a protective vegetation cover, example in desert region. Please turn your pages. In this types of weathering, rocks are split along the joints into large rectangular shaped blocks. Example: block disintegration is common in overall over well jointed granite in Hong Kong. You can see in this figure 9.4, block disintegration over well joined granite in Portal Island in Hong Kong. Granular disintegration. It is a process of physical or mechanical weathering due to the repetitive heating and cooling as a result of temperature changes. Rocks are usually composed of different types of minerals. The dark colored minerals, example mica in granite, absorb more heat and so get heated up fast. Light colored minerals, example quartz, feldspar, feldspar can reflect light and get heated up slower. As a result, alternative expansion and contraction of mineral in rock cause rock disintegration into small pieces. Children, we will stop here and we will continue our next session in the next part of the video. So children, we will go through the recap of the lesson little bit. Let's see what we have said. What is the meaning of disintegration? The process of losing cohesion or strength. This is the meaning of disintegration. And what is weathering? Involves disintegration or decaying of solid rocks due to the change in temperature and weather and their impact on the composition of rocks. So children, please study, go through the lesson and watch the video. Thank you children for your cooperation. Thank you.